Hey, how's it going? So, this is a pop-up class on my Instagram. If you're rewatching this on YouTube, hey, how's it going? I'm gonna wait for some people to roll in because nobody knew I was going live, and so I thought, maybe I shouldn't start the class until people are here. So basically, the reason that I'm doing this, and don't worry, I'm going to teach you how to make magnesium oil. The reason that I'm doing this as a live pop-up class is because Instagram has taken away my ability to upload long format videos. Like they used to have IGTV. Now I can't do anything but 90-second reels. And I have a lot of stuff in my brain, and 90 seconds is just like cruel to me. So I'm going to do a pop-up class. Anybody who's watching this on YouTube, it's not currently live, but I'm not talking to myself right here. I can see people talking in the comments and things like that, but I figure that's all right. You guys are used to me uploading my Q&As. So for everybody who's just joining, do you want to make some magnesium oil? It's super easy to make. There's literally no oil involved, and people charge so much per bottle. And the thing is, almost everybody's deficient in magnesium unless you're actively working to increase your magnesium levels. And that's because we live in like a world of fucking chaos. Like it is constantly stress, it is constantly overworking, and all that kind of stuff depletes your magnesium levels. Plus, our soils are really depleted of magnesium, so unless you're eating a lot of seafood, there's probably not much like bioavailable magnesium available in the foods you are eating. And fun fact, if you have an impaired gut, like you have IBS or Crohn's, SIBO, digestive issues, and you take magnesium pills, odds are good you're not able to absorb much of it because your gut is compromised. So it's really a lot better to use magnesium topically because your body absorbs it better and it gets to your cells faster when you use it on your skin versus ingesting it. So let's make a magnesium oil. Now somebody just asked, is a magnesium water spray better than an oil? Potato. They are literally the same thing. People are just calling it different. So the first thing you're going to need is a jar. And then you're going to need, of course, some magnesium. Now I'm using magnesium chloride. It's the most common. It's really well absorbed. It's pretty good for energy, sleep, nerve repair, things like that. And then you need yourself, a measuring cup. And you're going to need some boiling water. Now I have my electric kettle here. I love this thing. And it just boils water really fast. So I'm just going to get my water boiling. And then it's a 1-to-1 ratio. That means for every 1 cup of water, I just need to put in 1 cup of magnesium flakes. It's super easy. And come on, hands. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to measure out 1 cup. It sounds like glass when it pours. I find that really satisfying. 1 cup like that. Somebody asked about Epsom salt. I don't recommend Epsom salt. You can take Epsom baths if you want, but it's not super bioavailable and it's hard for your body to convert it. I really recommend the magnesium chloride flakes. They look like little glass flakes, right? I even recommend that for a bath. And then once your water is boiling, and just for transparency, this thing does boil water really fast. But I pre-boiled it so it would still be hot, so I wouldn't have to be sitting here for a couple minutes being like, I'm waiting for it. So basically, it's 1 cup or 1 cup of magnesium per 1 cup of water. You can make as much as you want. Now, you can use distilled water. Most people recommend that, but the funny thing is you don't really have to because there's going to be so much salt in this water that it preserves it. So you really don't have to worry about using distilled unless your tap water is like, really like contaminated. Even if it has chlorine in it, chlorine will leave when it boils because that's just the way chlorine works. So if you're not worried about it, I'm not worried about it, it won't go bad. Okay, so this sucker's boiling now. I'm just gonna dump in. It has a measuring thing on it, which I like. All right, I dumped in a cup of water. Now, I want you to resist the urge to cap this. Cap it and shake it and you'll have a bad day. It'll spray everywhere, you'll burn yourself, you'll drop the jar, you'll cuss, you'll freak your kid out. A bunch of stuff will happen, so use this. And now I'm just gonna sit here and stir this until it dissolves. So how's your day going? Pretty good? It's really that easy. Now, you can make this stronger if you want to. You can do a 1 to half ratio, like where you do 1 cup of magnesium flakes and a half cup of water. I find that a little too strong, and usually when people make it that way, you end up having to water it down before you use it. But you can make a really strong batch where it's like barely any water to magnesium, and then you can add like a 4th cup of that to your bathtub if you don't want to wait for the magnesium magnesium flakes. I breathe in the steam to dissolve in your bathtub, right? Or if you're just using like a foot soak. And just like that, we've made magnesium oil. Now, it'll be thicker. If you get magnesium oil and it's really thick, there's no oil in that. It's just that the salt is so thick in the water that it makes it feel kind of slimy. And usually when it's a really high ratio, and if you read fine print, they're telling you to water it down. So now I'm going to show you something even cooler. Let's say that you want to get creative, because this is just water and magnesium. Now you can apply this to your feet, to your legs, to your stomach, depending on where your issues are, and it'll absorb into your body, right? So how about we decide to do something herbal, right? Because my brain likes to add things into things, right? Like I want to be able to fill in gaps. And one thing here we can do is take the hot water and make an herbal infusion out of a plant that has a lot of volatile compounds. Like it means a strong scent. In this case, I'm using lavender because, you know, magnesium and lavender words, April, both go hand in hand for sleep. And so basically, just before I started this video, I poured some hot water, right, over my lavender blooms. You do not need to let this sit like a nourishing herbal infusion. It's ready in like 10-15 minutes, because look how dark that water is already. It's almost too hot for me to touch. So because I am making this to actually use, I am going to prepare myself a double batch. First, I'm going to put 2 cups of my magnesium flakes. And now, I'm just going to straight up strain my warm lavender infused water into there till there's about 2 cups. Ooh, that is hot. Let me grab something. All right. Hot water. And I'm just going to strain it. Oh, and then I'm going to spill it everywhere because I strained it too fast. I like being a human. It really pays off sometimes. Other times, it's just fun to embarrass yourself. So, I'm going to clean up my mess. Like so. And then I am going to just strain the rest of it. And it's a good thing that what is going on here? Oh, I know what's going on here. It's because I'm using a stupid narrow mouth jar. There we go. Fixed it. So when you're straining, use a wide mouth jar. Because it doesn't allow air for this to go around it, and so the hot water pushes out of it because there's like no like area for it to move. Okay, so we can learn lessons at the same time. These are not fresh lavender blooms. When you're making infused anything besides a tincture, you want to use dried plant matter, because if not, you're just making kind of like a weak broth, right? You want it to be dry so the cellular structure is already broken down, and that's why it's already so dark after only like 10 minutes of infusing. Okay, don't do that, April. I'm gonna do it again. Okay, so we're not spilling it really. And that's about 2 cups. Right, you don't have to be like exact with this. And then I put it back into here. And then I grab some more paper towels because there's still a bunch of lavender infusion all over my counter. It smells really strongly like lavender in here. There's absolutely no need to use essential oils. Okay, so that's the hot lavender over top of the magnesium. And now I'm just going to stir until it dissolves. And then I can take this when it's done, when it's cooled down, obviously. Now you can store it in the fridge. You don't really have to, honestly. There's there's enough salt in this magnesium flakes that it's going to be room stable, right? But what you can do is then take this and put it into a spray bottle. Now, it was about, I don't know, maybe about a half an ounce to an ounce of lavender bloom to a quart. Again, you can eye it. It's up to you. You don't have to use lavender. You can use rose petals. You can use chamomile. You can use calendula. Anything that you've got going on for you. If you're like, well, you know, I just want something that helps me sleep, I'll use lavender. If I've got itchy skin, I might use like chamomile, things like that. And I just stir it until it's all dissolved. And just like that, you now have yourself some magnesium oil. Now again, you can make it thicker by adding more magnesium, and it won't hurt anything. So I'll show you. Digging out my magnesium. Oh, my funnel is covered in lavender, so, and it's a narrow mouth. So let me be professional and prepared. Get the loose lavender blooms out of it. Okay, all right. Ta-da, because that makes it so much easier to do this. So much easier. So I've just added an extra cup. So that's now 3 cups to about 4 cups of water. Because I just want to show you how much thicker it can get. And you're just stirring it and stirring it. Now the thing is, if you have digestive issues, that's really common for magnesium deficiency, you can rub this on your stomach. If you get like intestinal cramps all the time. If you have restless leg syndrome, rub it on your legs before bed. If your feet are sore, rub it on your feet, right? Like, it'll go everywhere in your body, but your cells will absorb it like really quickly, so it goes right to where you need it. Now somebody asked how long this lasts how long this lasts for. You know, I'd say use it up within a couple months. Again, it's salt preserved. Like, there's literally more salt in here than water, magnesium flakes, you know, and magnesium is a salt. And so it's really not going to go bad on you. So again, it's still just water, but it feels like an oil, right? It feels like an oil. Now, here's the thing. If you are magnesium deficient, there's a good chance of that. But if you're really magnesium deficient and you put this on your skin, it might suddenly, out of nowhere, start causing lots of like tingling, itching, even burning. I want you to know that there's nothing wrong. You haven't hurt yourself with this magnesium oil. What that means is that you are so deficient that your skin is absorbing it so rapidly from transdermal application that you are literally feeling your body suck in the magnesium. And you can stop that burning or tingling or itching by adding like some oil, like some olive oil on top of it. And the only reason that works is because basically it slows down your body's capacity to absorb it as quickly. So it will still absorb, it just won't go like so rapid fire and make you all itchy. That's why, like, for those of you who've ever tried like my Deep Slumber magnesium cream, it has tallow in it and other animal fat, you know, well, animal fats and other oils and things like that with lots of magnesium, but it won't likely make you all itchy because it's making you, it's not like time release, right? It's going a little bit slower. But I really love to use this. It's safe for pretty much everybody. If you have like some kidney disorders where you have to stay away from this type of stuff, you know, be mindful, but I'd use it during pregnancy. It's all external, right? And the really cool thing is that, so internally, if you're taking a bunch of magnesium and you take too much magnesium, you can fuck your heart up, right? But externally, your body is only going to absorb what it needs, right? You can't really hurt yourself that way because your body's like, I've had enough, I don't need to pull this in anymore, versus where if you're swallowing it, you're not really giving your body the choice of how much it's exposed to, if that makes sense. So again, the recipe is just a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's 1 cup of magnesium flakes and it's 1 cup of boiling water mixed together. You can make that stronger. You can do a 2-to-1, you can do a 1.5-to-1, play around with it. But as long as it's the 1-to-1 ratio to begin with, which again is 1 cup to 1 cup, it'll be shelf stable. And so it's so It's so easy to make, and honestly, it's pretty affordable. If you buy these big bags like this, if you buy in bulk, the magnesium itself will always be cheaper. Don't use Epsom salt. People have Epsom. One's a printer, and one and one's, you know what I'm talking about. That stuff doesn't work as well. It's not as bioavailable, and you're really just not going to get it into your skin cells as deeply. So again, this is just going to cool down, and then I'm just gonna pop it into spray bottles and spray it on my feet at night. Lower back if I have pain, stomach if I've got stomach issues going on. And so to recap, the reason why we're deficient in magnesium is because there's none left in our soils. There's not much left in our food unless we're eating a lot of seafood, which is a great natural bioavailable source of magnesium that I definitely like. If you live near the ocean, eat seafood. If you live in the middle of like the United States, I don't know, right? It's not overly fresh and things degrade. But anyhow, you also can be depleted in magnesium from high levels of stress, from caffeine, from certain medications, from excessive carbohydrate intake, but also, fun fact, if you are not getting enough bioavailable calcium in your diet, you will have a hard time using the magnesium you need. So sometimes when people are magnesium deficient, it's actually because they're calcium deficient. These are important cofactors. You need them together. Oh, and by the way, if you're vitamin D deficient, it's likely because you're magnesium deficient, because your body needs magnesium to create vitamin D, which is actually a hormone, not a vitamin. So it really all plays together there, but the first step is to make yourself some magnesium oil. It is so easy to do. You are so capable of doing this. Like, really, you are smart enough to do this. How hard was that? It was like a cup of water and a cup of like glass sounding salt, right? And then we're good to go. So that's really all there is to it. So, you know, get yourself some magnesium. And again, you don't even have to use the infused lavender. You can just use water and salt. So somebody just laughed that I said caffeine. Yeah, if you want to look it up, caffeine, coffee in particular, has the capacity to deplete magnesium. That's a fact. And think about how much coffee people drink. It's crazy. It's, you know, because we're so tired and we're all this stuff, and it might be from magnesium deficiency, but then we drink some more coffee and we get going for a while, and they're like, oh, I need more coffee, and your body's like, oh my God. And then the magnesium gets depleted more and more. It's really insidious. So, okay, if you like this pop-up class, if you liked rewatching this on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. All this stuff helps people learn that they're smart enough to do this really simple stuff too. And if you feel like supporting what I do, consider checking out my shop and all that kind of stuff. But the main and most important thing I want you to take away from here is that you are absolutely smart enough to do this. You really are. So thank you for joining my pop-up class. For those of you that are currently watching live, don't worry, I will save this to my wall so you can rewatch it. It will also be uploaded to my YouTube. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time, folks. Bye.